There is a savings law most people have never learned. It was not taught in any school or any bank. It was kept inside Jewish homes, quietly, for generations. Not a banking product, not a government program, not a theory. A household law, a rhythm practiced at the kitchen table. And it was pushed out of financial education very deliberately. Right around the time banks made debt feel completely normal. Most people believe saving is purely about willpower. They think trying harder would finally make the money stay. But willpower is not what keeps savings from growing. The real problem is the absence of a household structure, a structure the modern world replaced with debt and spending habits. Jewish mothers understood something that financial systems never taught. Saving needs a container, a physical, named, rhythmic container inside the home. Without that container, every good intention dissolves by Tuesday. Banks do not profit when you save. They profit when you spend, borrow, and carry a balance. The whole system benefits when your savings stay small and vague, when they sit unnamed and easy to reach whenever pressure arrives. So they were never going to teach you this law. Every month without it, money leaves your home and does not return. You know this feeling. I am certain you know it. You worked hard this month, you were careful, or you tried, and at the end of the month, the account was still lower. Not because you were foolish, not because you stopped trying, because something structural was missing from your household, something no one ever sat down and quietly showed you. My grandmother kept 3 small envelopes in her kitchen drawer. Not a savings account, not a bank card, not a phone app. 3 plain white envelopes in the top drawer of her kitchen. I asked her once why she kept envelopes instead of a bank account. She looked at me with quiet certainty and said one thing. She said, "The bank counts your money. These envelopes count your future." I did not understand her then. I understand her completely now. What she was practicing had a name. She never used this name, but the wisdom was ancient. The 7-7-7 savings law. 3 rhythms, 3 sevens, each protecting a different layer of your home's financial life. Let me walk you through all 3. The first 7 is called the first day law. It is the foundation that every other layer is built on. In Jewish tradition, there is a principle called bikurim, the first fruits, the first portion of whatever comes in. This principle is ancient, and it is completely practical. The first of what arrives does not pass through the house first. It is separated on the very day the money enters your home, before bills, before groceries, before anything else is touched. The Jewish mothers who kept this principle were not simply being spiritual. They understood something about money that modern finance keeps forgetting. Here is exactly why this matters for your household today. The moment money comes into your hands, your mind begins spending it. Not deliberately, automatically. You think of the bill that is past due, the errand you kept pushing aside all week, the thing the children need before the weekend arrives. By the time the week ends, that money is absorbed, claimed by habit, distributed without a single conscious decision. Whatever the week did not claim is what remains for saving. And the week almost always claims everything. The first day law stops that pattern at its root. On the day money enters your home, 7% moves first. Not mentally noted, not scheduled for some later time. Physically moved into an envelope, a jar, or a small container. Something that lives in your kitchen drawer from this day forward. Placed there with your own hands before anything else is touched. 7%, not 10. Here is why. This 7% is the savings portion of this law only. The giving portion is addressed separately in the third 7. This 7% belongs entirely to your home's future. It is your household protecting itself on the day it matters most. The physical act is the entire key. Money sitting in a digital account alongside everything else feels accessible. And accessible money gets spent. But money separated with your own hands begins to feel different. It starts to feel like it already belongs to something real. It starts to feel untouchable in a way digital savings never do. My grandmother opened her kitchen drawer every Friday evening. She did this just before she lit the Shabbat candles. She looked at those 3 envelopes. She never touched them on Shabbat, but she looked, and something settled inside her. That act was not just spiritual practice, it was structural protection. It was her telling her home, this money belongs to the future. That is the first day law. The first portion moves first. Every single time, no exceptions. The second 7 is called the 7-week rhythm. This is the one most households never actually practice. The modern world replaced it with one annual budget nobody maintains, and once a year is not often enough to protect a household. Every 7 weeks, you sit down at your kitchen table. One piece of paper, one pen. That is all you need. You write down every single automatic payment leaving your home, every subscription, every membership, every recurring charge, every payment pulling from your account without you choosing it that moment. Then you ask one question about each item on that list. If I started completely fresh today, would I sign up again? That is the grandmother test. She had a version of this long before subscriptions existed. She asked whether something still deserved its place in the house. If it no longer earned its place, it left the house. There was a woman in our community I will call Noah. She sat down at her kitchen table with her list. It was the first time she had ever done this. She found a streaming service she had completely forgotten she had, a delivery membership she joined during a sale and never canceled, a subscription she had tried to stop twice but never fully canceled, and a software charge from a small business she had already closed. Each one looked small sitting there on the paper alone. Together, they pulled over $140 every single month. Within 3 months of stopping those payments, her kitchen envelope had grown. It grew enough to cover a real emergency on its own. That is accumulation blindness, slow and invisible leaks, habits that outlived any usefulness, charges that continued simply because nobody formally stopped them. The 7-week rhythm finds those leaks before they empty your vessel. 49 days, 7 weeks. Then you sit down and look again. The Jewish calendar already runs on this rhythm naturally. The counting of the Omer is 49 days of intentional attention. Each day counted because each day is treated as meaningful. The 7-week rhythm brings that same attention to your household money. Not once a year, every 7 weeks without skipping. Now the third 7. This is the most powerful part of the entire law. It is also the most forgotten and the most quietly effective. It answers something I used to wonder about for a long time. Why do some households build savings that last for years, and others save faithfully only to watch it disappear again? The answer is the 7-month seal. Every 7 months, you take your savings envelope, the one that has been receiving the first portion since you began, and you seal it completely closed. Then you write one word on the front of it. Not an amount, not a date, one word only. The name of what this money is being kept for. The home emergency, the children's education, the business your family has been talking about building, the season of rest you need before anything new can begin. One name, written clearly on the front of the sealed envelope. This practice is rooted in the principle behind Shemitah, the idea that money, like land, needs a declared direction. Without a declared direction, money dissipates. It leaks away through small uses until nothing is left. But named money behaves differently. Named money stays. This is exactly what banks replaced with vague savings accounts. No name, no face, no declared purpose tied to the balance inside. Just a number you can see and reach whenever the urge arrives. And that is precisely why most savings accounts eventually get raided. Because a number is easy to sacrifice. A name is not. When you name that sealed envelope, something inside you shifts. The money stops feeling like a general resource to draw on. It belongs to something. It now has a face. You protect what has a face the way you protect family. I knew a family who wrote 2 words on their envelope. Miriam's school. Their daughter was 4 years old when they began. They were not wealthy. Some months they added very little. Some months the envelope received just what they could spare. There were hard months when opening it must have crossed their minds. They never opened it. Because opening it would have meant taking something from Miriam. It meant saying no to their daughter's future. That envelope followed her to her first year at university. The naming is not symbolic. It is a financial strategy. It is how this law has protected households for generations. It is how savings that should disappear somehow remain untouched. Now, I want you to do something specific tonight. Find one envelope, or a jar, or any small container. Something that can live in your kitchen drawer starting right now. Write today's date on the outside of it. Take 7% of whatever money is in your wallet right now, even if the amount is small, even if it feels like almost nothing. Place it inside the envelope with your own hands. Then write one word on the outside of it, the name of what this savings is working toward. Put it in your kitchen drawer, not on your phone, not in an app, not in a bank account. Your kitchen drawer, where you will see it with your own eyes. This is the first act of the 777 law in your home. The first day law begins tonight with what you have right now. The 7-week rhythm begins in 7 weeks at your kitchen table. The 7-month seal begins when your envelope is ready for its name. You are not starting over. You are starting correctly, possibly for the very first time. Now write these words in the comments below this video. Write, "My home keeps the law of 7." When you write it, it becomes a real declaration. A declaration is how every household ritual has always begun, with words, with intention, with a promise made to your own future. If someone you know works hard but never saves, share this. One piece of wisdom at the right moment can change everything. Subscribe so you do not miss what is coming next week. I am sharing the Friday night threshold law, what Jewish wives practiced at the front door before Shabbat began. A ritual done at the threshold to protect the week's provision. It uses something already sitting inside your home right now. You have simply never known what it was placed there for. Baruch Atah Adonai. The same provision that filled those kitchen envelopes decade after decade, that carried families through the hardest years without breaking, that gave mothers peace when they opened that kitchen drawer on Fridays. That provision is not reserved for one people or one era. It belongs to every home that chooses to honor the rhythm. Your home is a vessel. The 777 law is how you prepare it to receive.